Hello. Welcome to my review of the movie Tar, a recent movie that came out. Uh, Pretty obscure indie movie. Um, that's right, I'm not talking about the newest Marvel movie this week. I'm talking about an indie movie. I think my friend group has been successfully turned into movie buffs because we went as a group to see a 3 hour movie about Kate Blanchett, about a musician played by Kate Blanchett getting canceled instead of a action Marvel movie. Uh, but no, Tar is it's a movie. Kate Blanchett plays a woman named Lydia Tarr, a composer, who yeah, I described it as she gets canceled, and that's the basic summary of the plot. But it's a lot more in depth than that. Uh, there's character dynamics. I don't really know what to say about this movie, and this is why I'm like, it's hard for me to review. The more like complex and interesting a movie is, not even a movie, just anything in general. The more I like something, the harder it is to review it. Uh, because I really don't have many criticisms about this movie. I mean, I think it was a little slow. I came into the theater a little late, probably like 5-10 minutes late, and I walked in on a scene of Kate. I came into the theater late because I went to the wrong theater and then had to drop to the right one. So this movie was fighting an uphill battle when I came in. Of like, oh, this better have been worth the like hour total cumulative of driving. Uh, and I come in and Kate Blanchett's character is just monologuing, and I don't know her yet. I don't know. I know she's a musician. I don't really know what she's talking about, and I'm just like, this is gonna be a long one. The thing with me about the thing you should know about me and movies is I can get invested in most things, but a movie that is interested in being art first doesn't have to put in as much effort to immediately grab the audience. And I am an impatient little goober who really like needs to be captivated quickly. Uh, Sometimes. I'm sitting there like, oh, I hope this movie captivates me, and it did. But just a warning is it is a little slow at the start. It's a solid like 2 hours 45 minutes, and it's not an action thrill ride. Which I'm sure if you've looked up a movie like this and are going to see it, you know what you're getting into, and I knew what I was getting into as well. I knew it was going to be a drama about a woman. I really didn't know much. The trailer is very vague. Though even describing it as she gets canceled, even that is kind of a spoiler because I didn't exactly know that was like the trailer didn't make that clear. There's some really interesting elements of this movie. It's shot like a horror movie, and that's what it was like. I read an online I read like a brief online description, and it sounded like a family drama about a musician. It was not that. Uh, I then watched a trailer because my friends were going, and I was like, should I go? I then watched a trailer, and it almost looked like a horror movie, like not just a horror movie, but like a character drama and a horror movie. There was some very like creepy, dark shots. There's this whole thing going on throughout where she's like hearing strange noises and it's never really explained why she's hearing these strange noises and being like distracted by them. Uh, so it's not just a movie about a woman getting canceled. It's also a movie about like an artist kind of going a little insane. She goes a little cuckoo by the end. She does something at one point in the movie that is kind of the climax of the film that is like, whoa, okay, that's shocking. That's a little crazy. Um, it's very similar to Whiplash, the 2014, I think. Oscar. Did it win the Best Picture? I don't know. J.K. Simmons won the Oscar for it. It's the movie where he plays the like loud, angry conductor, musician guy, and her character, Kate Blanchett's character Lydia Tarr, is like the it's like the girl boss version of Fletcher from Whiplash. She doesn't yell at people, but she's just as like manipulative and controlling and unnerving, and she forms very unhealthy relationships with her students slash pupils. And instead of there being like another character whose perspective we're seeing this through, we see it all through. It's like if a movie was about Fletcher from Whiplash, and like he was the perspective that the audience got to see things through. So it's like you don't even really realize that, like, minor spoilers, kind of in line with what I've already talked about of her getting canceled. You don't really realize that she is. I mean, you notice, but the movie says about halfway through it that she's basically getting accused of grooming young musicians and like trading positions in her orchestra for like sexual favors. And it's not until someone says that to her that you're like, oh wait, that is kind of what we've been watching her do this whole time. But she does it so, we see it so clearly through her perspective that, like, you know, it sets off alarm bells. It's like she's obviously doing something wrong, but to hear someone else spell it out from an objective view, it's like, oh yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. Oh dear. And that's kind of what leads to her downfall. Of course, in her eyes, that's not what she's doing. And there's a lot of really great. Oh my god, her performance is incredible. Kate Blanchett definitely deserves to be in the running for Best Actress this year for her performance in Tar. That's why even when I walked in even when I walked into the theater and caught her mid monologue and I didn't know anything about what was going on and I was irritated because I hate walking into a theater like after the movie started. Even there where I was like kind of irritated, I was still like, okay, well, this is a great performance. Like I was immediately enthralled by her acting, even if it took about half an hour for me to become enthralled in the plot and the characters. Which I think is how you hook people in a, you know, like a talking drama, a film, like a movie lover's movie where it's like really in the dialogue and the, like, that's how you enthrall people, is you need a good enough performance in a movie like that to draw the audience in before they have all the plot details. You can't use action to draw the audience in. You can use like good cinematography, but that only goes so far. In my opinion, you need like a really strong performance to draw people in, and this movie has that. And was able to at least draw me in on the performance enough to keep watching, even when I didn't really know what was going on. It filled the tie shoes. It's not the best movie I've seen this year. I think that still goes to Everything Everywhere All at Once. That movie was incredible. But it's certainly up there. It's about on the same level as Whiplash, which is I can very easily compare it to Tar, because they're both about musicians. They're both about kind of similar musician characters. But I almost think I might like Tar more than Whiplash. I don't know. It was more the mystery of it all. It's not that there's a mystery, really. Like, it's pretty, but like the joy of not exactly knowing how things were going to play out, and even with what I've explained, I think there's still a lot that may surprise you as to like how things play out. It's not a very straightforward movie. It kind of masks and obscures certain things, and like part of the reason I mentioned a big shocking climax moment, part of the reason that climax moment is as shocking as it is that the foundation pieces for it are placed. The building blocks for it are placed, but you have to do a lot of inferring to realize those are there, and it's very possible to watch this scene. If you've watched the movie, you'll know what scene I'm talking about, and not realize that, oh, that's what she's doing here. That's why she's doing what she's doing right now, is because this. Like, oh, now these scenes, yeah, now the building blocks make sense. But it's very ethereal. No, it's not. It's very what is the word I'm looking for? Like, in the mind. Like, you have to think and be a smart viewer to watch, which I am not because I cannot remember this word. No, but it was really good, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm glad I went to see it with my friends. I honestly should review more movies like this. When I only first watched Whiplash like earlier this year, or maybe it was last year, and I was going to review it, but I just didn't. I don't know. It's, again, like I said, it's kind of hard for me to review movies that are this good, because you almost feel like you need to watch it again. Like, I feel like I need to do like a full analysis video essay. Like, it's hard to just give impulse, like, first viewing thoughts on a movie as complex and rich as Tar or Whiplash or Birdman's another one that I finally got around to watching within the last year. I'm starting to become more of a movie guy, not just review Marvel stuff and TV shows and Fear podcast. But if you enjoyed my review of Tar, you should go watch Tar if you can find a theater that it's playing in. It's a pretty obscure movie, and all the theaters are being taken up by Marvel right now. Yeah, go see Tar, and like, if you liked Tar and you haven't seen Whiplash, also watch Whiplash, because that movie's great as well. And yeah, just watch more films. I'm enjoying it. I'm movie pilling myself. And I hope I can bring some of you with me, implying that most of the people who watch this are probably going to be people who watched the movie with me, but whatever. Arrivederci!